Richard Chamberlain, an actor, has died. When the FBI went into Richard Chamberlain's huge mansion, they thought it was just another routine check. But when workers tore up the old wooden floor, everything changed. The room went silent, and even the toughest agents turned pale when they saw what they saw. Something shocking had been hidden for years, something that was never meant to be found. Was it a dark secret from Hollywood's past, a clue to a long-forgotten mystery? As rumors circulated and tension escalated, it became evident that whatever lay beneath that floor had no intention of being revealed. Watch this video to find out more. The shocking discovery that was made in Richard Chamberlain's old floor. Author and three-time Golden Globe winner Richard Chamberlain has died at the age of 90. He died at home in Hawaii after having a stroke. Chamberlain first became popular in the 1960s when he played the lead in Dr. Kildare. He said it was like a dream come true, even though it was hard work. The first season had 36 episodes, and the second season had 34 episodes, with breaks in between. In the 1970s, he moved into movies and had parts in Julius Caesar, The Three Musketeers, and The Towering Inferno, which won an Oscar. He said that starting a new role was always challenging and hard for him because he had to work hard to understand each character. He also said that cold readings were challenging for him because he needed time to prepare. In the 1980s, Chamberlain became famous for the miniseries he starred in, including The Thornbirds and Shogun. He spoke highly of Shogun, saying that the book it was based on was wonderful and that the show helped introduce many Americans to Japanese culture. His roles in these shows earned him a lot of praise. I grew up in the 1930s, 1940s, and 1950s, a time when being gay was simply not a choice. In 1988, he became the first actor to play Jason Bourne on screen. Later in his career, he was a guest on shows like Will and Grace. He said that joining an existing cast was different from being the star of his show. He felt welcome on Desperate Housewives, but he said that some sets had close-knit casts that made guest parts feel a bit less personal. Chamberlain often talked about how much he loved acting. He had always been a performer, even before he became famous. He liked getting to know other actors, directors, and crew members and making strong bonds with them. He saw the process of becoming a character as an ongoing learning experience that kept him interested throughout his long and successful career. The house that Richard Chamberlain lives in is beautiful and has a standard gambrel roof. Patterned wood shingles on the front of the house make it stand out and give it a unique and classy look. Two big double-hung windows with lovely top sashes add to its beauty. On the first floor, there are two nice gabled porches, each with strong Doric columns supporting them. The big front windows have sandstone sills and lintels, and the diamond-paned transoms above them let in a lot of natural light. A dental belt course of corbelled brick runs across the front of the building and goes all the way around it, adding a classy touch. The windows on the sides have blended in beautifully with the brick tops, giving the house more personality. On each side of the roof, there is a window that lets more light and air into the upper level. Not only is this large house, once owned by the renowned actor Richard Chamberlain, aesthetically pleasing, but it also boasts a rich and fascinating history that demonstrates its timeless charm and timeless beauty. It's not surprising that a mansion like this would have an old floor or underground. Reports say that FBI agents recently took off the old flooring from Richard Chamberlain's historic home and were shocked by what they found underneath it. But officials have been very quiet about what they found. There are many rumors going around that the hidden space may have held long-buried documents, valuable artifacts, or even a secret chamber that has been ignored for a long time. Other people are wondering if something much scarier has been hidden under the house for years. No matter what happened, the agents' reactions suggest that what they found was not normal. Currently, the story remains unverified, leaving the public unaware of the purported findings. A question still remains. Could it be that the shocking discovery in Richard Chamberlain's old floor was only the start of a much bigger mystery? One that cut through decades of closely guarded secrets and a put-on of Hollywood fame. If you want to know more about Richard Chamberlain, besides the fact that he is a very smart guy, keep watching. There were many rumors about Richard Chamberlain's sexuality at the time, and both fans and the media were always looking into his personal life. Because of this, Chamberlain had to play the straight romantic lead for years. It was both a personal and a public battle for Richard. He said it was hard to hide his sexuality for so long, and he got used to being on guard in public, interviews, and magazine features. He always tried to avoid questions about his personal life, especially those that asked when he would get married and start a family. These questions were a direct reflection of how American society expected an actor's public persona to match the ideals of heterosexual married life at the time. Chamberlain talked about the pressure he was under. He said that revealing his sexuality in Hollywood would be a disaster waiting to happen because he was an actor at the top of his game, and especially loved playing lead romantic roles. He said that the idea of coming out as gay would be even more dangerous because he was afraid that it would ruin his career and cause public scandal. "I was in terrible danger of being outed because I was a for goodness sake. That was pretty much my whole job." While he became famous for his parts in famous TV shows like Dr. Kildare and later Shogun and the Thornbirds. As the attention on his personal life grew, he remembered a time when fan mail came in at an unbelievable rate, with up to 12,000 letters a week, an even bigger number than the legendary Clark Gable got. The public's great interest in Chamberlain was something he had never fully understood, but it did show how much star power he was building in Hollywood during these years of success. Chamberlain put on a straight face by going to public events with women, which helped hide who he really was. This carefully crafted image wasn't just to protect his career, it was also to fit in with the deeply ingrained Hollywood norms of the 1960s and 1970s. When he finally came out in his 2003 memoir Shattered Love, he did so with a sense of freedom. He wrote about a moment while writing the book when he felt like a spiritual presence guided him to accept his truth. Coming out in public was not only an emotional release for him, but it also changed how he saw himself deeply. Being aware of his true nature, he was able to understand that hiding it was no longer helpful. Richard Chamberlain loved his life and hid the fact that he was gay until he got tired of it. This begs the question, after years of carefully constructing a facade, what finally drove Richard Chamberlain to break free from the shadows and embrace the truth about his identity, redefining his legacy in the process? Let's find out. Chamberlain's coming out was also important for Hollywood as a whole. At the time, not many actors were brave enough to talk about their sexuality because they had played main men who were always the height of male romance. His choice was an opposite for the business. However, the reactions to his coming out were mixed. On the one hand, he had a strong sense of being open-minded and was not afraid to talk about his sexual life with the media, especially in well-known interviews with Larry King and Barbara Walters. Yet the industry had a different point of view on the matter. Many believed that his career was over once the news became public. Many of his fans and admirers was left with the emotional feeling that their favorite celebrity, being an open gay actor, could never keep the same level of fame, especially in the types of roles Chamberlain had become known for. Regardless of this, Chamberlain's career continued to grow after he came out. The roles he chose after that were always showing more of his own truth, such as his role in Brothers and Sisters playing Ron Rifkin's boyfriend. He no longer needed to hide his sexuality in these later years. Chamberlain was praised for his acting abilities and his connection with fellow actors such as Ron Rifkin were especially memorable. Although the press and the industry may have viewed his coming out as a possible career killer, Chamberlain had already cemented his place in Hollywood history. But after his statement, the public turned its attention to his sexuality. It was a great experience, The only bad thing was that I wanted to leave and do other things. There were still long-lasting effects from Chamberlain's career. His parts in Shogun and the Thornbirds made him a symbol of 1980s TV drama, with the Thornbirds becoming a worldwide hit, even though the stories were sad. One of Chamberlain's most famous roles was as Father Ralph Dryasar, who was torn between his vows and his love for Rachel Ward's character. The success of these roles showed how good an actor he was, regardless of his personal life or the rumors that surrounded him. Even as he neared the end of his career, Chamberlain remained humble about his legacy. When asked what he wanted to be remembered for, he played down his famous roles and said he just wanted to be known as a pretty nice guy with a sense of humor. His retreat from Hollywood and move to Hawaii marked the beginning of a quieter life where he found peace and contentment among friends despite the difficulties he had faced earlier in his career. Chamberlain's ability to embrace his truth and continue his work in Hollywood without fear of consequence allowed him to remain a beloved figure in the entertainment industry. Ultimately, Richard Chamberlain's story is one of resilience and courage. His journey through Hollywood at a time when it was difficult to be openly gay demonstrated the tensions between personal identity and public persona. The speculation surrounding his sexuality was an industry norm at the time, but his eventual decision to come out was a pivotal moment not only for his career but for the representation of LGBTQ+ individuals in Hollywood. Through his bravery, Chamberlain opened doors for future generations of actors to live more authentically in the public eye, ensuring that his legacy as both a talented actor and a trailblazer for LGBTQ+ visibility in Hollywood would endure. If the discovery beneath Richard Chamberlain's old floor was shocking, could it be that the true mystery lies not in what was found but in the life of the man himself? To learn more, keep watching The Untold Truth about Richard Chamberlain. Richard Chamberlain first became famous and captivated audiences in the 1960s when he played the charming and dedicated Dr. James Kildare on TV. His striking good looks, including piercing eyes, a sculpted jawline, and an effortlessly charismatic smile, won him a lot of female fans. These fans, who were captivated by his on-screen persona, were a big part of keeping his high demand. He got regular work in a lot of TV movies, many of which, despite being plentiful, didn't impress viewers or critics. As his career went on, Chamberlain became even more famous, solidifying his position as the undisputed master of the 1980s TV miniseries genre. Richard Chamberlain was such a great actor that he was able to play a lot of interesting roles because he was so versatile. He most famously played a determined Western prisoner in the critically acclaimed series Shogun, and later he played an emotionally charged Catholic priest who was struggling with forbidden love in the romantic drama The Thornbirds. He became known as one of the most sought-after actors on TV because he could bring these roles to life. After leading Men Born as George Richard Chamberlain on March 31, 1934 in the prestigious neighborhood of Beverly Hills, California. I had done a lot of work, I'd had a lot of therapy, I'd have done a lot of spiritual work, I had wonderful friends, etc. He was introduced to a world of opportunity from an early age. Tragically, just one day before celebrating what would have been his 91st birthday, he passed away, marking the end of an extraordinary life and career. Even though he was raised in an environment that seemed full of potential, his formative years were anything but perfect. During Chamberlain's early years, his father, a salesman, struggled with a serious drinking problem. As a result of the chaos and issues at home, he subsequently characterized himself as a shy, serious, and solemn child, painfully thin with a long, melancholic face. Chamberlain was not at all the obliging, eager to please student one might anticipate from a future Hollywood star when he was younger. Rather, he acknowledged that during his school years he was rather rebellious and averse to authority. However, despite his reluctance to conform, he eventually found an outlet in athletics, which not only helped him develop discipline but also provided him with a newfound sense of confidence. He developed an unexpected affinity for theater while attending Pomona College. He was persuaded that acting was not merely a hobby but his actual vocation after a performance in Bernard Shaw's play Arms and the Man. Richard Chamberlain has had his fair share of problems, but when he was famous and successful, he was living the life he had always dreamed of. So was Richard Chamberlain really living the dream with his rise to fame and the admiration of millions? Or was there more to his story than the public ever knew? Let's find out more about how he overcame problems and became an overnight star. Paramount Studios noticed the young actor's natural talent and unmistakable on-screen presence. But when he joined the U.S. Army, his hopes of becoming an actor were temporarily dashed. He served his country with honor for 16 months, eventually rising to the rank of sergeant while stationed in Korea. Despite this distraction, he never gave up on his dream of becoming an actor. And after being honorably discharged, he quickly returned to his dream, which would become his career today. Chamberlain started appearing in a number of TV shows to build his reputation, and one of his early roles was a small but important one in the iconic Western series Gunsmoke, which had a lot of fans. His striking beauty became a serious talking point while he was still a rising star, with people praising his perfectly sculpted aristocratic features. At the time, the media compared him to a young lord straight out of the Renaissance, even though he looked very sure of himself. There was something surprising about Chamberlain's shyness that helped him get the part of doctor in NBC's new prime-time medical thriller. James Kildare is a medical intern who is dealing with the tough parts of his career. His gentle performance touched a nerve with listeners, who gave him an amazing and interesting response. As a result of the show's success, he became famous in a way that no one had ever heard of, and fans from all over the country praised him endlessly. An amazing 12,000 letters were sent to Chamberlain every week from fans who wanted to show their support. Because he was so popular, his public appearances turned into serious events. At a parade in Pittsburgh, 450,000 people just wanted to see him. In New York, his presence almost started a riot when a child excitedly spotted him in the crowd and called out his name. The number of his fans was so strong that it was clear who the real star was. Richard Chamberlain was now a real TV star, and the studio quickly made money off of his image. Realizing how much money he could make, they put his image on a lot of different goods, like board games, comic books, and novels. His unexpected success in the music business made him an even bigger star. Chamberlain recorded a single called 3 Stars Will Shine Tonight, which provided the love lyrics for the show's signature opening song. To everyone's surprise, the song became a hit, which made his image as an artist even stronger in many areas. There is no doubt that Richard Chamberlain had a huge impact on TV and pop culture. He played many famous roles over the course of his long career, and the fact that he went from being a shy, insecure kid to a famous person around the world shows how talented, determined, and charming he was. What do you think? Did you think Richard Chamberlain lived a full life? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and follow. Watch the next movie on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity news. See you there.